Good morning. Good afternoon. All of the things. Happy Sunday. Hello, Evelyn. Happy Sunday to you. All right, I'm going to give it a minute. Y'all know I always struggle with this chair. Good morning, Judith. Happy Sunday. Give it a minute. Hope y'all are having a good Sunday. Hello. Happy Sunday. Good morning. Oh, thank you, Judith. The hair is, we're undecided about the hair, but thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. We're undecided about this. We'll see how long it lasts. Happy Sunday, everybody. It's been, as Judith said, it's been a minute. I think it was just one Sunday I missed last Sunday, I think. So I've missed y'all. Thank you. Monique, welcome. Happy Sunday. I am sorry to hear that, but I'm hoping that a tiny house in this journey will be something that helps you feel whole again, for sure. Frederick, hi Catrice. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome over here. It's a good Sunday. It's a great Sunday. Today I am feeling the season change. We're going to be talking about the season change. Well, thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate that. I think it's this light that's got some shine happening on my forehead that's making the elegant look, but thank you. All right. Let's get going. Happy Sunday, everybody. As I introduce myself, and thank y'all for being here. I missed y'all. As I introduce myself, my name is Jewel Pearson. I built a tiny house in 2015 because I want to live in no freedom. And it's fancy because I don't believe you have to give up luxury to go tiny. I am a social entrepreneur. I am a lifestyle architect and strategist, and a longtime advocate for intentional living and representation in the movement, in the tiny house movement. After living tiny for over a decade, I use my experience, my expertise to help others create intentional and self-defined lives. And I do that through home design, downsizing, and community. And if any of that resonates with you and you'd like to connect with me, you will be able to find links to do so in the video description down below. I believe it's not just about the tiny house. It is about clarity. It is about alignment and liberation. And the tiny house is a mode to get there. So let's get into today's session. Thank y'all. Happy Sunday to you. Thank y'all for being here. Hello, Bridget. Happy Sunday. Anita. So I always joke that I feel like we go here in this area, in the Charlotte area, I feel like we go from summer to winter. There's very little fall. I guess that's what we're experiencing now, even though it's a lot chillier than I prefer. Y'all know I am not one for fall and winter. So that's where we are right now. Today is a great day. As the seasons change, we know the days get shorter, the air gets cooler, gets crisper. The days getting shorter for me. We've spoken about this before, or it's challenging for me because I'm a sunshine. The sunshine is what gives me my energy. I know that I have that oh, thank you, Bridget, that seasonal um affective disorder. Like, I need the sunshine. One of the things that I have learned about myself, thank you, Bridget, is that I need to travel more during this time to take myself to sunny places, because the seasons changing, the sunshine, lessening, the more gray days, the shorter days, all do a number on me. And I know that there are a lot of people who are affected that way. Um, but one of the other things that I've noticed about myself as the seasons change is like an internal shift that starts happening, like right along with the change of season, an internal shift that happens right along with nature. Um, I have, as I've been kind of moving around the house doing different things over the last couple of weeks, like reorganizing and um, kind of getting things together. And when I was talking about it to a friend, I was mentioning kind of like a squirrel. The squirrel starts getting ready for the season, and they start gathering their nuts, and they're busy getting ready. Um, oh wow, Evelyn, that's cold. They start getting ready for the season, and I feel like that's kind of what I've been doing around here. I know when women are pregnant and they start getting prepared, like they know delivery is happening soon. I think they call that nesting. And I think that's what you call it for a squirrel as well, as nesting and getting prepared for this season change. Um, and it kind of happens naturally. For me, I know I will slow down a bit. Like if I wake up in the summer and the sun shining, and that's my call to be out, to get out, to get moving. Like, that's my energy call. These days are more gray days, and these changes, I feel like, invite us literally and figuratively to slow down, and to take stock of where we are, where things are. So reflection, and then getting prepared for what's next, like getting ready for the next. And I have shared, so living in a tiny house on wheels, I have shared before that there is actually a winterization process that I go through with my house in getting ready for the season change. And so there is some of it is very much like a traditional house. But with a traditional house, as winters gets ready to come in, you might wrap your plumbing, your exterior plumbing, remove your hose, wrap that exterior plumbing as you get ready for winter, get ready for the cold. With a tiny house on wheels, and I have a video about it that I probably will link to in this video description, the physical winterization of a tiny house. And so, because my house isn't built on a foundation, I have to do work to skirt it. To kind of, what you're trying to do is, it's not on a foundation, so it sits up off of the ground. And so you're skirting um, the area between the bottom of the tiny house and the ground, and you skirt it to kind of keep the air up underneath, trying to keep heat up underneath the tiny house, because if it's open, cold air, it's just going to circulate under there. So that's part of winterization. Having been in my tiny house for 10 plus years, so the very first couple of years, I would do that as the season changed and really just be rushing around the October timeframe to get it in place. Um, Late September, October timeframe to get it in place because I always know we don't have that big of a change, a transition. And so the first couple of years, I put it in place and then take it down. And then I quickly learned that I didn't want to do that each year. And so I now do it one time. And so Teresa is saying winterization sounds like a lot of work. It can be. It is, thank you, Elle. It is, or it becomes an effort in working smarter and not harder. And so what I learned early on is to do it once and not have to do it again. And so I have had, and when I move my house, I obviously have to take it down and reinstall it. So I have had a few versions of tiny house wrapping. The prior to this location, it was a combination of plywood and roofing material. The back of my tiny house is the siding on the back of my tiny house is roofing material. So on the back of the house, when I did the winterization, I used roofing material. Behind whatever I wrapped the house with, I put foam board insulation again the to hold heat up underneath the house. What I've learned, so it's not a lot of work, is to do it one time. So for those of you who follow me on the socials, this in this place, I did it with faux plants, foam board insulation, faux plants, and a tarp all the way around the house. And then, hey, Rosalind, and then because the skunks were teaching me some lessons, I've had to uninstall it and reinstall it, I think 3 or 4 times to keep to to keep them out from underneath the house, but it was again lessons learned. So I it's still the foam board insulation, it's still the tarp and the faux plants all around it. I've shared some pictures on Instagram, but I also have some barriers, some like plant garden fencing, little short fencing that also goes around it because the skunks were intent on living underneath my house. And so again, some lessons learned. But so I did that when I early on when I was putting the house in place and working on the yard. So I don't have to do that again. My winterization is done. Like I check it just to make sure because there's still it's another skunk that comes through and I just check it regularly to make sure nothing is trying to dig up underneath that, but I don't have to do that winterization again. It is one and done. And so like I said, I'll share that video as a link in the description for anybody who wants to understand the physical winterization of a tiny house. um that's the physical, but as I have been thinking about the figurative and the literal sense of seasons changing, um, I think I am living in my house now. I am more aware of or more connected. I probably should say, not aware, more connected, more intimately connected, and I feel the seasons more intimately. A lot of it probably has to do with my small footprint, all of the windows. I constantly see, the change in the trees. I got a big tree behind me, all the leaves are falling, so that's all in my front yard space annoying me, but it's part of the season change. But I see it. I'm more connected to it. I am more aware of it. And it likely has a lot more to do with intention, like focus, being more focused on being in the present. And I've shared before how tiny house living is. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all because I ain't will that's a whole nother conversation. But thank y'all. I appreciate the love. Um so I know I am more aware. I am more intentionally focused on the change. And so um, I see, the wind, and in a smaller, obviously in a smaller space, I can hear things better as well. So I hear the wind moving. I see the wind moving. At my other location, I heard in so let me be clear. The My house is tied down. My house is also um fairly heavy. So the wind doesn't move my house. Let's be clear on that because that would be a deal breaker for me. But I see and I hear the wind. I also open my windows, and so um I see that happening. Um I saw who was it? Teresa was saying she changes her closet over with the seasons changing. That is something that I normally would do, but as I reset the house, as I moved it this time, one of the things that in my intention, I was very intentional about not having to do that because I don't want to switch out my closet. So I added a small closet-like space in the sunroom, and I've also shared that on the socials. But that's where my winter clothes are, and my summer clothes are in the closet that's in the tiny house. And so I don't want to have to do that switching back and forth. I just really want to be set because that was a big switch in the closet became a big deal for me. So I've gone through a big mental deal for me. Like I don't want to do it. Like it's just too much. And so I've gone through my clothes and with a great deal of intention and downsize the clothes because that is a constant effort. I share with you all the time. I live tiny, but to stay to stay decluttered and to focus on not having more than I want or more than I need. It's a constant effort in downsizing and decluttering. So um, I've done that. But even in a traditional house, as winter starts approaching, there are things that people have to do. Sealing windows and doors. Maybe it's rearranging furniture. Maybe you have a summer setup and you have a fall winter setup. Maybe it is in adding heat, additional methods of heating. Maybe it's, preparing, getting your wood together for your fireplace. And when you think about it, that physical care is no the physical care of the home is really no different from how we should be caring for ourselves as the seasons are changing. Um, Rosalind, I'm planning to skirt my tiny house this year. I'm thinking of using a tarp all the way around and attaching it with magnets. Um, my recommendation, if you're doing it from a keeping heat on it, so because the other thing I might not have mentioned, without having a foundation, the floor. So Rosalind lives in a schoolie. The floors of our home, the floor of my tiny house, without living on being on a foundation, the floors stay cooler. So again, that wrapping is to hold some of the heat underneath there. Rosalind, I would maybe suggest if part of that is for keeping the schoolie warmer, I'd also suggest maybe some foam board insulation underneath the tarp. And you're gonna have to um the magnets are gonna hold it at the top, but you will need something, I'm assuming at the bottom to keep it down, like if it's wind or rain, happening to hold the tarp. Taunt is probably the word. So I would maybe also suggest putting some foam board behind it. It's not a tarp itself isn't gonna hold a lot of heat, so um, maybe. Um, Dark and Lovely is saying animal repellent to help with the skunks. It does not work. That was my first go-to, skunks. So a lot of these animals will walk right past some animal repellent and be like, "Child, you wasted your money." Um, it was a whole effort in deterring the skunks, and the animal repellents at the big box stores do not work. They will stand right beside it and be like, "Oh, was this out here for me?" Um, but thank you for the suggestion. Um, Teresa is saying she'll change her comforter and curtains and switch some of her decorations. Yeah, it's the season change. The And a lot of people do things like that. Um, Sheila's saying she likes the sound of wind in nature except for thunder. Interesting for me was experiencing as I moved my house into rural areas, experiencing thunder and lightning in rural spaces where it's more wide open. That was uh eye-opening for me because the ground might shake and the thunder is so very loud. It finally made sense to me, understanding when you hear people talking about how their grandmother used to, when the storm was happening, would tell everybody to sit down. I got it. As soon as it started happening, I understood, sit down, like just sit down, because it was a lot. It was oftentimes very scary, but yeah, I'm the same. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rosalind's saying she rotates her wardrobe as well. Um, so maybe glue the foam board to the tarp. Um, if the tarp is not gonna hold the foam board, you can glue the foam board to the tarp, but you're gonna need something that's gonna keep the tarp adhered to the schoolie. And the but because I've done duct tape isn't gonna do it because if it rains, duct tape is faulty. I'll send you a text of the tape that I recommend. It is tape that they use for oh my god. House, it's not house wrap, it is, I call it, no, I ain't gonna tell you what I call it. Okay, somebody try to send me to the clink. It's some tape that if you put on somebody, they not getting out. Um, I'll send you a picture of it. It's pricey, but it's gonna hold it. Yeah. Um, um, yeah, go to sleep, go lay down when the thunder and the lightning would happen. Um, so I was saying like the switching the seasons for us, it's also it should also be a a change in thinking about how we are caring for ourselves as the seasons are changing. And no, it's not Flex Seal tape. It's another tape, and I had it out just a few minutes ago. I don't know. I haven't used Flex Seal tape, I don't think. Um, but the rain, a lot of the duct tapes that swear they're so good don't work. And I've done it, used them for many years, so that's how I know outside. Um, but when we're talking about change, and we've been talking about change for a while, even good change, that requires us to prepare, and it requires us to pay attention. Just like we winterize our houses, we have to winterize our bodies, our minds, our hearts, our spirits. And we have been speaking about that for the last few months because society right now is really demanding that we pay attention to our heart, minds, and spirits. And um, winterization, this change of season, is also going to test that to help us as work on insulating ourselves emotionally. And that's as we, add some extra insulation to our physical homes, we have to focus on that for ourselves as well. And just like the change, and people are saying, I changed my wardrobe over. Um, we need to focus on what we need to clear out of ourselves, clear out. It's always people, places, and things before the next season begins. Are there some things that we need to clear out? Um, um, and that's what we need to be thinking about. So, as this season changes, many of us, especially Black women, many of us carry things. We carry so much. For a long time, we forget that we're carrying the load. But as this season is changing and as things are evolving, we should be thinking about things that, as we're getting rid of things from a physical perspective, what is it that we need to get rid of? What is it that we need to shed in this season? The season is asking us to rest. And so we should be honoring that. We have been focused on resting and not just being in survival mode, but in being in thrive mode so that we're taking care of ourselves. Um, and Bridget is just saying that the change in season influences our bodies as well. Absolutely. And that's something that we may not focus on. Something's itching my back, yeah. We may not focus on it as much as we should. The season change happens like it's nothing that we can control. And so we may not focus on the fact that we should be controlling how the season changes influence us physically and mentally and spiritually and emotionally, and prepare ourselves for the season change in that way. Um, Rest is absolutely. Hey Key, welcome. Happy Sunday. A question about winterization. Do you do any winterization to the connections behind your tiny if yours are uncovered? And so to my water, where the water goes into, so the inputs on the back of my house are very much like an RV. And so, or very much like the spigots on the, more like the spigots on the side of your house. So just like on the side of the house, you would wrap your spigots. That's the insulation that I do for the side of my house. The bonus is I do it in the summer. As I was wrapping the house, I wrapped all of that stuff because it's not going to hurt it in the summertime, and so it's already wrapped. I don't have to do anything, just to make sure. The only thing I do need to do is disconnect my water hose, and but I'm ready. um Judith has given us a hack. Let's see. I learned thinking of a way to cut the wind out and heat under my RV. I got the dog gates used to keep dogs in your small yard and RV, and they can be enclosed with your choice. Um, I think that kinda sounds like what I ended up having to do with the garden gates that I was mentioning to keep the skunks out of underneath my house. I think you're saying the same thing. Teresa is saying I have to use more vitamin D in the wintertime. Yeah, vitamin D is you're not the sun's not out as much, and so you're not getting the vitamin D from the sun. And so um that is a self-care. That's also one of the things that changes that impacts the seasonal affective disorder, the lower vitamin D. Good afternoon. Yeah, the same goes for foundations. Pipes burst. Absolutely. There was one winter here, maybe it's been about 4 or so years ago. Houses were struggling with pipes freezing. And it wasn't just, my tiny house, and I'm not on a foundation. Houses on foundation were struggling because it was so cold. So yes, the preparation that we're talking about, it's not just for a tiny house, it is also for traditional houses. Um, but the we while we focus and we know the things that have to be done for a physical house, we don't and we'll do those things. We don't always take the same care and concern with ourselves. And that's what I am asking you all to do as I do it myself. Um, Shedding. We've been talking about downsizing and decluttering as part of the tiny house journey, the intentional living journey, people, places, and things. And so the shedding, the resting, the taking care of self to be intentional on our self care and what that looks like for us in the way we eat, the way we move, the way we engage with people, places, and things, the way we engage with the overabundance of um, hardship happening right now in the world, putting ourselves to ingest all that is happening right now is not good for our nervous systems. So putting in place insulation to take care of ourselves as we do this with a tiny house and the seasons changing. Um, the big thing that we've been talking about since October of 2024 is being in community and being in spaces to help ourselves as we navigate this shift. Being isolated is a quick way for us to be sad and depressed. And there's so much happening right now, so much horrible, horrible in the way of horrible happening right now that if it's a dance class, if it is going out to walk in the mall to be around people, some people, um, you still have to be careful where you go. Being in community with folks is what is going to keep us together. If that is, your church family, your whatever activities you're involved in, those connecting with friends, making it your business to connect with friends. I do a lot during the week. I do a lot of Zoom and FaceTime connections because my community isn't, um, a lot of my community isn't close by. But we have methods now so that we can stay connected. I have my um, one on one coaching where I'm able to connect with folks. My Patreon community, which is moving, where it is moving November. So that's changing. But being in community, Folks in the Patreon community are will be here in person at the end of this month because community is so necessary and important right now. And so surrounding yourself with the people who are going to remind you to rest, who are going to remind you to prepare, to take care of yourself, to breathe. That's part of the preparation that we need to be doing as the seasons are changing. Um, in one of the things that I have had to learn in living tiny is because my house for the last few years has been more in rural areas outside of urban spaces, my preferred city spaces. I have had to learn and that community, being in community, and now that I'm in a more convenient space, I can have community come here, but that has helped me fill the space of and the gap and the disconnection. Um, what I've downsized in square footage, I have increased in my community, and that community connection is really important. Um, Teresa's saying opening your cabinets. Absolutely. That's one of the things that you have to do for tiny house people. Another thing that I've learned was, when my pipes froze, having a heated lamp outside to keep to thaw the pipes. Sitting a heater out there that if your water line is sitting on the ground, a heated hoses kick on at a certain temperature to warm the hose. A hack that I didn't even that I figured out because I used to have external tanks that my plumbing is now connected to a septic tank. But previously I had some two external tanks that I connected my plumbing to. And a hack I learned at that time was um there's a heater, a device for fish tanks that you just drop in the fish tank to keep the water, to warm the water in the fish tank. And I was able to use that in my tank because liquids, going out of the house, I have um, oh my God. I can't think of my word right now. What my macerating toilet. Thank you. That I said thank you to myself. I was saying thank you to my brain for coming up with the word that grinds waste and liquefies it. But if the pipe freeze or if that tank freezes, then that can cause a problem. And so this heater that they have for fish tanks, I just dropped it in and it kept the liquid at a temperature so that it wouldn't freeze. Um, Absolutely. The winterization, the thought process, so Sheila, my where I am now, the septic tank, Sheila is asking how was the septic tank process. Where I am now, the septic tank was already installed. I am on land that was a mobile home previously existed here. So I didn't have to do any of that other than having my plumber connect into it gratefully. Um, but the thought process and the preparation that we would put into physically winterizing, physically preparing for winter, um, getting our clothes together, shoes, socks, we changing over, as Teresa said, we're changing over our bedding, for something warmer. That's the same preparation that we should be putting into ourselves as the seasons are changing, taking care of ourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of the leads, making sure that we're putting that same effort into ourselves as this season change approaches. Um, so the as we're thinking through this, because we're moving intentionally, as we're thinking through this, you should be asking yourself as the seasons are changing in the world and the seasons are changing within you, you should be asking yourself, what is this season asking me to release? People, places, and things. What am I being asked to nurture? Is there something that you should be nurturing during this season? For me, I am enrolled in a MBA class, the next economy. It is different for, it is approaching business from the perspective um, not of our capitalistic business mindset. It is approaching business from a perspective of, as I said, redesigning business for the benefit of all life. So it is asking us to look at how we operate our business and change in that mindset where you want to. Capitalism is everything that this world is, especially the United States, is made of, and it just becomes part of your psyche to operate in that way. And so I want to unlearn a lot of that, most of that. And so I'm taking an MBA course. Um and I'm excited about that. I'm it's part of the nurturing of myself in unlearning harmful behavior that colonization taught us. And we see that's where, and we see that how that's getting, taking care of us right now. Um, it is. Evelyn is saying it's like poison lemonade. Like you drink it, it's in the damn water. Um, Teresa is saying, I do believe that the new location you are in is better all around for you, with the exception of the skunk. I agree. I absolutely, it is a space of joy for me. I wake up grateful to be here and know that with everything that's going on in the world right now, if I were in that location and as isolated as it was in that location, I would be struggling even more. And so I'm grateful, absolutely grateful to be here. I feel safer, physically, feel safer. I'm happier here. My house is happier here. And yeah, it is the place of joy. It is we need to be asking ourselves, what are we ready to nurture? I think that as the seasons change, you start cooking your stews and you use your crock pot more, and those are the things that we have to be thinking about for ourselves. What are we ready to nurture? Absolutely. Um, and then as we think about community, as we think about people, places, and things, who do, what, people, places, and things, who do you want to be close to you? Who do you want to be in community with as you move into this next chapter? Who don't you want to be in community with? Who don't you want to be close to in this new chapter? Because I say all the time, everybody can't go. And sometimes you have to grieve about that, that everybody can't go, but what is it? A lesson, a season, a reason, and a blessing, or I think those are the things. Everybody can't go. And sometimes you'll fight to hold on to folks because you're not ready, but there's a lesson and a reason that everybody can't go. And sometimes it is for your own growth and your own benefit. You don't see it until you get on that other side and you're looking back. Um, but what that's part of the shedding and the getting ready for this next season. Who can't go? Who can go? Yes, Teresa. Absolutely. This is that time. So yeah, that's as we're talking about the physical winterization, as I think about the physical winterization, it's also necessary to think about um the winterization, the season change that is happening with life. Um Evelyn, Evelyn is saying as challenging as the skunk situation was for Jewel. I do smile sometimes when I remember. That's the skunks, because it was three of them, were absolute lessons. They they were lessons in how I needed to shore up my wrap, how I needed to shore up the perimeter of my house, and they taught me. I had to do and undo that thing. I think it was 4 times. Um, they taught me also community, because I don't have a problem. Like, it's another skunk out here. He doesn't mess with the house, but he strolls through and he lets the world know he's here. But I learned so much about skunks, so much about them, more than I ever needed to know. Hello, Audrey. Um, when we relocated them, I they were just as cute as they could be, because it was a mama and two babies. Um, I learned that they don't really want to spray you. They just can't see. So if you are kind to them and talk to them and don't roll up on them, they're not going to spray you. 3 times, 3 encounters, none of them sprayed us. I learned a lot about skunks. I have a different appreciation for skunks and what they do. I just don't want them underneath my house. But yes, I they wore my nerves out. Um, but there were some lessons, some physical and spiritual lessons learned. Um, that animals over here, um, I in the intention, and being more focused on the present, I'm more aware and in tune with the animals. Like, I put a light around this tree out here. I wrapped the light around the tree, and I realized there was a squirrel circling me, and I was trying to figure out. I was trying to. I'd see him run up, and then I'd see him run back, and then I started paying attention. I could see that he was trying to get something done, but I was there. So then I realized, oh, you live in this tree, and I'm in your way. And so went and sat down and backed out and told him I was waiting for him or her to do what he needed to do. And sure enough, squirrel came through and went up the tree. And I think it's more the intention, the slowing down, the way this life, and it has so much to do with my tiny house. And I say it all the time. It's bigger than the house. It's about clarity. It's about alignment. These are the things that I pay attention to. I pay attention to the birds out here. I've always paid attention to hummingbirds, and I have hummingbird feeders, but now I have um, water fountains, and so I pay attention to the birds, and am able to be more connected, because that the intention in my living has granted me that awareness, and I really, really appreciate it. Um, So yeah, the skunks were all right. The boar got some oxtails. It is that there were several lessons that came with the skunks. All right, good people. I intended not to be here very long because this is Exodus Summit weekend. My friends Stephanie and Rashida, this is their I agree. I agree. This is their summit weekend, and so I have been enjoying some of the sessions. And it's always fabulous. This is their 6th year. I have attended five. There was only one year I missed. I've attended 5 of the 6 years, and if you, hello, if you are a Black woman and you're not connected with Exodus Summit with Stephanie and Rashida, I will link to their channel and drop that in the chat. But you should be. A lot of the work that they do is around liberation for us, for Black women, and that is through travel, through house sitting, through leaving the United States. That is the work that they do. Um, I know. So after you finish watching this, if you aren't already connected with with Exodus Summit, you should connect with Exodus Summit. It is fabulous. Even if you don't plan to leave the US, there's always like this year it's focused on making money for your move abroad, but all of the methods of making money are things that could be done here in the United States. And people are sharing their tried and true tips, the ways they've made the money, and really, really good information. Um, they're out here doing the work for us to build lives that are rooted in freedom and in intention. Same. And so if you aren't connected with them, please do. And Teresa and Evelyn said I need to write my book. I have that. So I'm as part of my getting ready for winter is also the nesting of my to-dos and organizing my day and my work. And I'm working on some things that I'm really, really excited about. And I'm feeling good about it as the seasons change. And I have been working on myself. And, I, as post the stroke, my brain is different. I share that often. And so it requires me to now navigate things differently. And I have really been focused on trying to figure out some of my brain fog. And I feel like things are shifting. So I'm really, really excited about that. I feel good about that. Focused on like vitamins and the way I organize and the way I focus and remind myself to focus on things. So I'm feeling like I'm in a good space. I like that. Thank you, Teresa. So that's what I got for y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for showing up on Sundays for me. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you all at the end of the month if you're in the Patreon group. And excited that you all will be sharing some time here with me. And have a great week. And y'all take care. Thank y'all so much. Take care.